Welcome to our community. Susie Thomas here with Bill Graining from the Alive Festival. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to be here.
All right. It's rare that you get to talk to the person who founded something, really.
Just means I'm old. That's all.
But let's start with that. Some people might not know the history of Alive. It seems like it's been one of the mainstays, always growing. Tell us how that all got started.
As you know, we actually got together in 1987 and met with some folks that, of course, many people might remember Bear Creek, and I know it's still there, and they've got the toboggan run and that. We met with the folks there, and they had an idea to maybe launch some kind of a Christian music event, gospel music. I sort of pushed a little bit hard to go maybe a little bit into contemporary, which they were fine with. So we launched it in 88. There was a group of us, a bunch of people in the community. A lot of us had seen other events like this across the country and thought, let's do one here in Ohio. So we launched it, spent 2 years at Bear Creek, moved the event to Clays Park, kind of took advantage of some of the facilities and things they had, and we're there 20 years. And then we left, 20 years. That's hard to remember.
Wow.
But in 2010, we actually went to Atwood Lake Park. They had approached us a few years before that and said they would build an amphitheater right there on Atwood Lake. So now we've been at Atwood Lake. This will be our 7th year. And Alive is, of course, a 4-day contemporary Christian music event, camping, swimming. We have all sorts of Christian music, but we also have a lot of recreation, a lot of seminars. When you're camping on site or using a hotel, it's a 4-day experience. And there's really not that many events like Alive. I mean, in our area, we're the only one in Ohio that does it over the 4 days with the camping, and we have about 5,000-6,000 people that camp on site. So every day there's concerts, there's seminars. You wake up to the smell of bacon cooking around the campfires, and people from all over the country really come. We draw a lot from Ohio, but we also draw from 40 states in Canada. We've had people come from overseas, Europe, Denmark, Germany,
That's
name
amazing.
it. But it's been really a cool thing, and from being involved over the years with us, started off as a concept, and we grew from 1,000 to a couple thousand, and it got bigger and bigger. And then as the years went by, as Christian music grew, and even as WMPQ and some of the stations started playing the music, on an ongoing basis, that really helped all of us because now the music's out there. So Christian
Everyone's
music,
more familiar with the people that will be coming.
They know
to
the
Live.
artists now. Back in the day, we sort of had to say, hey, come hear some good Christian music. And now groups that we have this year, like Casting Crowns and Switchfoot and Skillet, every genre covered, rock to worship and so on.
You were a banker who did this voluntarily and worked with a group of volunteers before this became your livelihood. I mean, good night. Bill, let's talk about a little bit of a sacrifice of your own time. You didn't have to do that.
Well,
you had a day job.
Yeah, I did have a day job, but it was, as you know, I think I have the same energy level you have, Susie. We can go with 4 hours sleep and be working something at all the times when you would get up early. You know how that is.
Yeah.
It was a labor of love. I can honestly say Kathy and I and all of our kids were little, but I worked at the bank and I had a great job there. I loved what I did. I still enjoy that side of my life, the banking, investments, and financial world. But in 1998, we realized we either need to bring somebody in to oversee and administrate a team and not just volunteers, but also selling sponsorships, getting vendors, food vendors, product vendors. We have over 20 to 25 different food vendors on site. So you have to coordinate that stuff and do contracts with artists. And we spend a lot of time focusing on a lineup that has everything that the kids would love. And we always say, parents always told us, book who my kids like.
Exactly.
And I'll be there. But we also realized, get music they like, having Chris Tomlin and getting artists like as Toby Mac. And of course, we had DC Talk and all those groups. But in the early years, it was my passion to be involved, and we would do tickets at our kitchen table. But as it grew, in 1998, I stepped away from my job in banking and investments, and I moved into a full-time job. And basically, it was either I do that or we would go hire somebody. And we thought, let's focus on it and do it well. So that's what we've been doing since 1998. I still love the financial side. In fact, I do enjoy all that, but I think I have that right brain, left brain thing going here where I love the creativity side of what Alive is. And we have over 400 volunteers, about 50 coordinators. We just had our coordinator banquet. and we're starting to get more young people in. So people that are listening, they can go to alive.org and see what we're doing as a 4-day festival. We did move to July this year too, which is kind of cool. We're a little later in the summer, which gets us a little more time for people to get ready for us, but July 20 to 23rd. But people can volunteer online and commit to be there with us and help run an event. And we need everybody. I mean, we have people coming from different age groups, but a lot of the young people, I say young people because as we get older, we're realizing we need to pass this on to the next generation. So.
You have done a better job than anyone I know of keeping up with what is the next thing. And I think, as you say, you ask your kids, what do they like?
Kids, yeah.
But now you're kind of even passing the torch to this next generation of Grainings, right? This has become a family business?
It is, and that's really been a joy of ours. Our son Michael, who's our oldest son, he joined us about 5 years ago. I may get some dates wrong because I am old. But Michael joined us first. He had spent time with Verizon and in their business sales area, and then he came to us and mentioned he'd have a passion for helping, and kind of subtly brought it to us. So
did that not warm your heart?
It just, we were thinking maybe we should step away and let someone else come in outside. Which is hard to do when you have sort of a family, I hate to call it that, but a family business of running an event. And we've always treated it that the mission of Alive has never changed. It's just we run it in a way that people can decide to come and buy tickets and support it. We clearly share the gospel every night at Main Stage.
Yes.
We've never changed that. But our boys had this passion, I should say. Our first son, Michael, came to us, and then just last May, our son Tyler, who graduated from Ohio State, and had sort of had a path that we thought he might go on, he came to us and said, I would have a real interest if you would have me, if you could bring me in, if you can pay me anything, or I don't know. And we're like, well, after I got a little bit teary-eyed and realized that Kathy and I both thought, if he wants to work with us, that's awesome. So we get to work. We have the dream. We get to work every day with our two sons. They come into the office, and we just love working with them. But as you said, they have an eye and an ear for what's coming up. And they're the ones that we've gone to a new ticketing system. We now, in the old day, we would put tickets in envelopes and mail them and wristbands. And now we actually scan at the event, and you don't have to do any. We're not staying stuck in where we were. We're listening to the kids, and now with Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and Snapchat, all the things that are there, social media has taken over our marketing.
Exactly.
And we're not killing as many trees. We're not printing as many flyers. But we do tell people when they go to alive.org, they can do everything there. They can download information. They can look at artists. They can go to websites. They can read great seminars. They can go and see who's coming. I'm still a little old school. I still think it'd be nice to have, maybe some posters and flyers. I think because I'm so used to handing them out. I kind of have to have something in my hand to give somebody, but the truth is,
now you can just tweet it to them.
Now you tweet it, and I'm learning. I don't tweet much. I do think it's a real cool way to reach a lot of people fast.
Yes, exactly.
No doubt. So.
Atwood was so happy to get Alive, and they made some amazing changes for somebody who has maybe not been to the festival in a while. The last, what'd you say, 7 years?
7 years. And a lot of people say that. They'll say, I used to go to Alive when it was at Clay's Park.
Yeah.
And we tell them, look, we're about 30 minutes south of Canton.
Yeah, not that far.
We're in, we're right in the crossover between Tusk and Carroll County. But we're in a state-owned, it's a the Muskingum Watershed Conservancy is a watershed. They do great conservation work. They keep our grounds from flooding. What the MWCD does is amazing. But on top of that, they build recreational areas because whenever you decide to create water and you have marinas and land. And so we were given the opportunity to go there and walk around. And the guy that originated was Tony Luther, who's still with MWCD. And Tony had a vision and came to me and said, can I show you where I think we could put an amphitheater? And it was just a huge 700 acres, or not 700. It was a huge, that's a lot. It was about 7 acres, not 700.
Which is still a lot.
7 acres of open area that he was going to clear out and create an amphitheater to put in 20.
There were still trees
there. There was trees there, right?
Yes.
So being I'm like-minded and see things that way, I went down the hill with him and I said, yeah, I could see this. So we talked about it. We went to the MWCD, met with their team, and they proposed what we could do as an event. We would lease the park. We would have certain areas of Atwood that we use. It's in the campground. People always confuse us. We're not at the lodge. The lodge, which of course is across the lake, is a different entity.
Right.
And they've gone through some changes here and there. But we are in the campground area, and we have now we have the benefit of all the electric sites. There's seasonal people there, but we still have our folks that want to rent and bring in motorhomes and RVs, so we do that. But as you said, we go to this park, and all of a sudden we're surrounded by a 1,500-acre lake, and you feel like, even though you're still close to home, you go down there and you feel like you're on a real vacation.
Oh,
and
truly.
They've done an amazing job building. They have a new welcome center. They've added walkways for us. They just put some amazing lights in. They're developing with us, and we realize it's a work in progress. So right now they're doing some amazing work to add another 76 or so electric sites, all full service, sewer, water, electric.
Awesome.
We already have a lot of campsites, but they're going to be adding more. So we're growing with them, and that's why I said the young folks now that are helping us, our boys and some of the younger staff, they're going to be able to keep this thing rolling. And we really feel like there is a place for this. A lot of people we always think not as many people camp, but we're getting more and more people that just want to take a tent and kind of get out in the wilderness. It's a very affordable vacation. Then you add in our huge main stage with video walls and LED screens, and we have 3 stages. This year we're bringing in a clear span tent for our wood stage, late night cafes, it's just on and on. So the event's growing. We're kind of growing with Atwood, so it's so go to alive.org. You can watch videos on there. Click on our YouTube page. That's also funny. We used to hand out VHS tapes.
Right, exactly.
Here, Susie, watch this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a cassette. Listen to these bands.
Right, exactly.
But now it's all easier to go there and just look at it.
And there is something different about a live performance. There's the heart. Normally, they're never perfect.
No.
There's the heart of the artist. You get to really almost have fellowship with these worship leaders that we all know and love so much. But there is something different about being there and seeing them live. You want to touch on that?
You're leading me right into what we think is the uniqueness of a festival. Again, it's not a perfect concert. They're live. They don't have a chance to cut and edit like we could do. They leave. You see everything as it happens. But these artists come in. And you mentioned Heart of the Artist. That's actually what we call our little breakout sessions in the afternoon with artists. We call those Heart of the Artist.
Wow.
Where I thought maybe you were prompting me. That was perfect. Heart of the Artist this year, we have John Cooper from Skillet. He'll just share his heart about how, what created an idea to write a song, or what was the inspiration. Casting Crowns. I'm going to forget all of them. I know we have a lot of artists that are there. For King and Country, and we bring in the best. I mean, we spend really a lot of our resources are hiring the really best talent. I mean, for King and Country, headlining Wednesday, Andy Mineo, great new hip hop artist. The worship night with Wren Collective, All Sons and Daughters, Shane and Shane, Saints, Urban Rescue. It's going to be a great event just in the scope of the artist. But where can you go here? 50 to 60 live concerts.
Exactly.
And our concerts at night aren't shortened. This is not we're not giving you the highlights. We're actually giving you hour to 70-minute concerts. And even some of the artists in some of the side stages are playing 45 minutes or so. So you're getting to see artists. Most of them hang out, meet kids and adults and sign and visit. And so you get that. But to go to a concert and sit outside and be able to experience that. And you get all kinds of, we know, we're not going to get into weather. Weather can be anything. We've had some of the most beautiful, and we've had some crazy weather, but it's been fun to watch how people just go and experience it.
Yeah.
And the best memories that we've had sometimes are the funny stories of people surviving events. But we've had some beautiful starry nights with fireworks and worship. And the bottom line is we see a lot of people that come to this event and get to clearly hear the gospel presented in a very nice way. It's not, we're not preachy at the event, but we do have speakers and we share the gospel. And this year we have Sean McDowell, his dad Josh McDowell's coming. We have James McDonald from Vertical Church in Chicago. We got Paul Tripp, an amazing author and speaker. There's so many things we're doing like this that we say when you're coming to a live, to get all that and be able to still enjoy the event. And if you don't camp, no problem. Commute, get a hotel. We're, like I said, a half hour south of Canton. We have people that come in from quite a distance, and some just get hotels because they don't want to be in a tent. So.
We're speaking with Bill Graining from the Alive Festival. We'll get back into exactly what's taking place this year after these words. Stay with us. You're listening to Our Community.